I was born in France. We lived there for about 3 years, and then we moved to Israel. My parents made Aliyah, and we were living in Israel or here and there for about 5 years. And I came to the States when I was 8, and I was done with school, I was done with homework, I was done with tests, and the fastest way out of your parents' house in America is to join the military. When I got my orders, it said Malmstrom Air Force Base, Great Falls, Montana. Where is Montana? What the heck is Great Falls? And I started asking around. No one that I was doing training with even knew where Montana was. I'm like, who, what, who's there? Just cows?
So actually, out of all the cities in Montana, Great Falls had the most Chabad connection prior to our arrival here in 2007.
Here at Malmstrom Air Force Base, a strategic missile wing controls the most modern Minuteman in its underground silo. Help prevent rather than start a nuclear war.
We had heard here and there that there's a Jewish airman, and we tried to send matzah or whatever, but we never had an airman that reached out to us. And then there was Yehouda Abecassis.
I didn't know how to contact him, so I just sent him an email. And at first, Hamshal didn't even know who I was. He thought I was like an older man with a family and kids. I'm a single guy, I'm like 18 years old.
And we're having this beautiful Shabbaton in Ennis, Montana. We rented a retreat center and Jews came from all over the state. And I was like, why don't you join us there? I'll give you a room.
Now we're already a little more established, so they know that there's Jewish life here. But 18 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, in Montana, you make it work by being the collector, right, of all these souls who are the most beautiful souls you'll ever meet.
The goal of these retreats was really to spend 25, 26 hours with Jews from as far as Big Fork to Billings coming together. The only thing that we want to ensure is that they know that they are part of our incredible Jewish community, and not only know it, but feel it and participate when possible.
I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get to you. You're like 3.5 hours away from the base, and I have no car, and there's no transportation.
One day, Rabbi Brook called me and asked me if I could talk one of our other congregants into loaning Yehouda his car. So I said to Rabbi Brook, all right, I'm not doing anything at the present time. I had retired.
She gets on base, and I get in her car, and it was very interesting. I had no idea that how she ended up in Great Falls. She had like a little dog jumping all over me in the car.
Gosh, it took us a good 3.5, almost 4 hours to get down to Ennis. We gnashed the candy bar on the way down to the Shabbaton. I dropped him off, and then I flipped around and actually came back to Great Falls.
I remember it vividly. It wasn't a new age car, and it bounced its way from Great Falls to Ennis. And I meet this young guy, Yehuda, literally, at the time he must have been 18, he was a young guy.
And Hamshal was so educational, informational, and it was nothing like I ever heard about. That was always what I connected to. Knowledge is truth, is wisdom.
I don't believe necessarily in love at first sight, but Yehuda and our family became a close-knit gang at first sight.
It was almost like, it felt like we knew him for forever. Like he just seamlessly just transitioned into the family. And after that, it was like, of course, we have to make sure he gets here for Shabbos.
And after I got my car, I was in Bozeman almost every Shabbos, if not every other Shabbos. Every single Yom Tov, Shabbos morning davening was me, Chaim Shal, and Seth. That's it. And then the rabbi would have a class, and 20 people would show up.
Eventually, Yehuda made a choice. Not a choice that I pushed him, just a choice that he made, that he wanted to go study. And he went to Mayanot for a little bit in Jerusalem. And before I knew it, he found his beloved Liba, and the rest is history.
Hi, Yehuda, how are you doing?
Hey, Baruch Hashem, how's it going?
Good, it's going good. What are you doing in Jacksonville?
Living my life with my family, kids. It's very peaceful, very nice over here.
Okay.
Really enjoy it.
Good. Oh, good. What do you have, boy and a girl?
2 girls and a boy, and 1 on the way.
Oh my, Mazel Tov, yeah. Do you remember the trip with the dogs?
Yeah, that was crazy.
There are 3 new ones. Simis, Strudel, and Sachertorte. Yes.
One of the bases of Hasidic philosophy, and particularly the teachings of our Rebbe, is that every Jew has a soul that whether it wants to recognize it or not, is yearning and thirsting for a connection with their brothers and sisters, with their fellow Jews, with the Torah, and with God.
I mean, the individual is the whole wide world, right? Every single individual is everything. Hashem created the world for each and every one of us, and if there wasn't a reason why you are here, if you're not important, then you wouldn't be here.
You know, when you're in the center, when you're surrounded by people, you fall into the trap of other people and how they live their lives. But if you really want to find God, you have to live on the edges, you have to live on the fringe, you have to live right at the cusp of falling over, and that's where you see God, and then you can truly have a relationship to Him, and you can make your way back into the center with God. I'm not doing Judaism because that's how I was raised. I was doing Judaism because Hashem wants me to do it, because He sent me here. There was no doubt in my mind after I ended up in Great Falls that the only way I could get here was because He wanted me to be here.
I come from a Christian background, but we would have some in-depth discussions, sometimes of spiritual nature.
People who are not Jews but are supportive, are interested, want to learn, want to get closer to God.
He's a real humanitarian. Bozeman benefits from his work with all peoples of all faiths.
It was a beautiful thing. An active Christian family praying for their own child in a tough situation, and who they calling to come for the prayer? The rabbi.